As we speak, a statement of intent, which is more of a warning, has come out from the Chinese establishment. The Chinese foreign minister has now come out and said that a new Cold War with the United States would not be beneficial to anyone. What he's basically saying is, we are warning you not to go into a Cold War with us, which further simplified suggests that that Cold War is already happening. As things stand, it seems China has taken the position to rapidly escalate that Cold War into whatever hotspots it can, be it the Indo-China border, be it the South China Sea, be it Hong Kong, be it Tibet, be it Taiwan. They are willing and are currently doing it. Now, you can prescribe to them motives. Xi Jinping wants to distract from the failure of managing things on the coronavirus, knowing full well that the global community has been lied to and his own people have been lied to. You can ascribe to the fact that in 2021 comes the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Communist Party of China, for which they have a huge checklist of things that they want to achieve. You can ascribe it to economic implications of ensuring that the rest of the world goes down far worse than China did with this pandemic, or you can ascribe it to the Chinese simply now trying to turn a calamity to their advantage. The world is distracted. In America, 100,000 people are dead. How do we use this chance to occupy Taiwan? Many things could be happening, but that Cold War is well and truly here. So, this simply begs the question, what do we do? In just the past few days, in a reversal of an initial decision, 2 members of parliament from India attended a special ceremony for the Taiwanese elected president, a person who was elected only in January and is known to be antithetical to mainland China's position. India has taken over the chairmanship of the WHO. It has joined a group of 100 other countries demanding for an investigation into the coronavirus pandemic. What can we do in the South China Sea? What should we be doing on the Indo-China border? What should we be doing in Nepal, in Tibet, in Taiwan and in Southeast Asia? Let's have that conversation. Joining us on the broadcast, Major General Dr. G.G. Dwivedi is with us, Dr. B.R. Deepak, Sumit Peer, as well as Joyita Basu. Let me quickly begin this conversation with Joyita Basu. Joyita, when the Chinese foreign minister says that a Cold War is going to be detrimental to everyone, he's basically saying the Cold War has already started.
Yeah, it's basically threatening. And this is something that China needs to learn, You can throw money around and you can, you can kind of muzzle the voices of the smaller nations. But frankly, it is high time. The bigger nations, if you start doing it, someone or the other, and considering the situation in the world right now and the hostile sentiments towards the Chinese, so I think if they start giving these threatening statements, there will be a reaction. Frankly, the world is reaching a point of beyond caring whether the Cold War happens with China or not. If you take the
but
case
if we are beyond caring, what are we doing about it? Because I've heard a lot of talk. I've not heard anybody doing anything about it. Joyita?
No, the thing is that you see the very fact that when we are taking over the chairmanship of WHA, actually that executive body, and also we are talking about this Taiwan. This Taiwan moves. If you start making this the small Taiwan moves, that itself is it's
Okay.
going to rattle China to no end.
Okay, Dr. Rattling them to no end achieves nothing, because you can rattle them, but in the end they took over all of Tibet and we did nothing. They took over Aksai Chin, we could do nothing. They intend to take over the South China Sea. They do intend to take over Taiwan also. The question is, what can you do to stop them? And that's the question. Dr. B.R. Deepak, it seems that the intent is clear. Now, it might be convenient for the Chinese at this point of time that, okay, we are now in a war with the United States. Let's go after Taiwan. Let's sort out Hong Kong once and for all. And let us try to forget how we mucked up the world with coronavirus. That might be the motive. There might be some other motive. They are ready to play the game. are the rest of us?
Yeah, I think you're right. Chinese, they know it, and it's there for some time. It's not a new thing. I think it has started, and then the US-China trade war, it has reflected on the ground that it is very much there. In fact, it started long back. I won't say that, it started with Xi Jinping. It started with his predecessor, Hu Jintao. You will see that 2010 onward, when it took over, the place of the second largest economy of the world, the very peaceful rise, which was, of course, a later development. Initially, it was the rise of China. So that was the point, the inflection.
Okay, but
point,
so
I would
where's
say
the
that
point right
China
now?
has
I mean,
started.
they are being aggressive in Hong Kong. They are being aggressive in Taiwan, aggressive in the South China Sea, aggressive on the Indo-China border. They're being aggressive everywhere. They're not backing down.
Yeah, at this point in time, of course, I think they are testing the water, like how far the United States can take this confrontation. For example, in South China Sea, I would say that though they have been successful in driving out United States to some extent, they have reclaimed the islands, so they have renamed many places in South China Sea. They have even renamed many places in our very Arunachal, and so they have intruded inside the western sector, which is beyond the claim line of 1960. Yes, they are doing it gradually, and they are testing, the waters. And of course,
Okay,
China,
the
I
fear
think
is that they're
diplomacy
more
is
than testing the
that
waters, that they want something to happen. Okay. General Dwivedi, then comes the question, if they want something to happen, do we deliver that something for them, or do we diffuse the situation?
Well, I just like to give you a little perspective, because in China, you have to, really follow two things very importantly. Firstly, what is the leadership, and secondly, time. Since Xi Jinping took over in 2012, he actually changed the whole narrative. First and foremost, he came out very openly that China rise is inevitable, and he laid down a China dream, that is the powerful China and prosperous China. So that's where you need to go back a little and see how the narrative has been changed. And in 2017, he became the lifelong president. He changed the complete constitution of the Chinese constitution. Now just let's go back as to what was the situation in 2019 before the COVID pandemic actually hit the world. In January 19, Xi Jinping actually made a very important statement. He warned the Communist Party that, look, we need to be very careful of, the black swan and grey rhino, because 2019 was the first year after 30 years that the Chinese economy actually showed a slowdown. So he was already preparing his country for economic turndown, and then came the pandemic. Now, there is a word Weiqi. Weiqi means exploit the opportunity where danger is there. So Xi Jinping is just exploiting the COVID-19 because they have been able to handle this pandemic, whereas America is fighting a losing battle. So therefore, he has actually gone on overdrive, and all the areas that you see.
How much do you suspect, General? General, how much do you suspect that they've decided that we've been waiting, following the Deng Xiaoping model, hide your strength, hide your strength, hide your strength, grow, 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 and the moment has now come. Let us sort out Hong Kong, Taiwan, South China Sea, Indo-Tibet border all quickly once and for all.
I'm just coming to that all these areas are being claimed by China as part of the sovereignty. South China Sea, Arunachal Pradesh, unification of Taiwan. Now China sees an opportunity, because opportunity is there that America is back to the wall, and America's economy is going to be hardest hit. Xi Jinping has confidence because he has two very important events coming. You mentioned that 2021 first 100, that is the 100th centenary of Communist Party of China. He has to put a lot of brownie points in front of the public. And 2022 is the 20th Party Congress, when the whole shuffle of leadership takes place. So what Xi Jinping is trying to set up is certain brownie point, certain achievements.
Sumit P, from everything that is building. General, just stay with me and pardon the interjection, sir. Let me get Sumit in.
He'll go in.
Yeah, Sumit,
all the front, but he's not going to keep all
the ducks are aligning, the cards are aligning. It's pretty clear from what we've just seen in Hong Kong that number one, They want to sort out this dual one state, two system policy of Hong Kong. That's going to be done away with very quickly. South China Sea and
Right.
Taiwan is next. And ensuring that they keep things on the Indian border hot enough to make our lives miserable, or at least take over some parts of the territory that is not perfectly marked out, so that they can go back and say that they've done it. The pattern of events seems to now be very clear.
Rishabh, the point here is that if you look at today, Xi Jinping, in my opinion, is in a lot of hot water right now, because he has exposed Chinese model, he has exposed the China, his corona pandemic or whatever it is has gone out of his hands. You know, China has made more enemies in the world today than the friends. Every person who is suffered by corona, forget the government, forget the media houses, forget the circles of influence. They're all up in arms against China. Watch any social media, watch any comment. Everybody is saying we should penalize China. Now, Xi Jinping wants to be seen that he's in control. So he has to create some firecrackers. He has to create some fireworks. So what you see in Hong Kong, what you see on Indo-Tibetan border, he wants to give a message, and his spokespersons are getting very aggressive, saying all is well, but all is not well for him.
No,
It's
but
a now or never
Sumit,
from Xi
how much
Jinping,
of it is
because
just fireworks?
it is a kind of
I think it's gone beyond fireworks now.
fireworks.
I think they're thinking final
It is now or
solution.
never for him, Rishabh. It is now or never for him. If he is not able to pull something big, something substantial for him, the Politburo can create another Xi Jinping, because that sense that he's immortal, that he's beyond time, he's the new emperor of China, that has gone into his head, and that is where they have given it all away. Because now everybody knows China's plans. What
Okay,
about those
okay,
OPR
okay.
roads?
Joyita
What about
Basu, how
those
much of it is fireworks and how much of it is that they are really thinking that it's final solution time? It's final solution for Hong Kong. Enough of this two system policy from 97 doesn't work for us. Shove that. Taiwan, enough is enough. South China Sea, enough is enough. We have the power. Let's just finish it off.
Is that for me, Rishabh?
Yes, Joyita. Joyita, for you, yes.
Okay, I mean, if I can just say something about what Sumit said, you see, I don't think Xi Jinping is in any trouble. At least because until and unless there is a revolution happening in this inside China, I think he is pretty secure in his position right now. He has all his people at the right positions, and also I don't think he is going anywhere in the near future. Okay, and having so, we have to deal with him. And yes, if you are looking at it in terms of whether he thinks this is the time for a final solution, although China has been talking about being China, I mean, Xi Jinping has been talking about, China being a benevolent power and all that. And
no, that's all nonsense.
All that has been exposed.
The British said the same thing, and so did the Americans. Fundamental question, Joyita Basu, in Hong Kong, Taiwan, South China Sea, are we talking new Cold War or are we talking new World War? That these are going to become hotspots. These are going to become your next Koreas and Vietnams.
Well, the thing is that, you see, if they want to get into Taiwan, for example, I mean, Hong Kong, they have already brought in that all sorts of laws they are bringing in, and the latest is about, no dissent allowed and all. They are already suppressing Hong Kong in a very big way. I mean, from whatever we can see from a distance, I don't think they were going to go into Taiwan as yet. And anyway, US has too much hold over there. So if it's going to be a misadventure on Xi Jinping's part,
it would
if
be
he
wrong
goes
on
into
his
Taiwan,
part.
because then it's
Doesn't
going to
mean
be
he wants to do
nothing
it.
that is nothing remotely cold about that war.
Okay. The real position is that America's position in Taiwan is not what it was pre-1979. Okay. China's position comparatively in these 30 years is exponentially better now. Dr. Deepak, it seems pretty clear that they're going for a final solution in Hong Kong. They're not pulling any punches in the South China Sea and in Taiwan. What's your assessment?
No, not really. I mean, come on, be realistic. I think that's the problem about, what we debate here. So try to be realistic. Number one, so I agree with Joyita that Xi Jinping is firmly entrenched in Chinese society, and Politburo is in his hands. So there is no danger for Xi Jinping as far as leadership.
No, so what are you asking us to be realistic about? Is he going to do nothing in Taiwan, South China Sea, and in Hong Kong?
And secondly, if you are saying that so China is in trouble for its first centenary, it is not. And if I
I'm
may
saying
remind you
completely
that
the opposite.
there are only
I'm saying that they're going to go
the
for
first
broke.
centenary of China.
I'm saying the
That
opposite.
is the elimination of the poverty and
I'm
the
saying the
doubling of
opposite,
the
sir,
GDP of
that they are going to
2010.
go
And
for
China
broke.
has achieved both these targets. And third, as far as US
You are
is
not
concerned,
listening
China
to the question,
believes
sir. I'm
Come
saying
on,
the
you are not
opposite.
listening to my, you be realistic. I'm coming to the third point.
Why
And
don't
the
you
third
answer my
point-
question, which was posed to you? I'm
I'm
suggesting it.
answering the third question because it is in the background, right? Because it has to be clarified that way. The third thing is that I'm saying that as far as China challenging US, of course, it has emerged as a challenger to the US, but at this point in time, China doesn't believe that it is there. And therefore, to say that it will end up in a confrontation with US in
Okay,
Taiwan
so that
Strait
boils down to
or
the
even
question I
Hong
was
Kong
asking you now that
or
you've given
even
me the
elsewhere,
background, sir.
It will not.
The
It
question
will not.
was, will it go for broke in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, and in the South China Sea? Do you expect that to happen or not?
So incrementally, yes, as far as Hong Kong is concerned, because Hong Kong has given it enough trouble since 2003 onward, I would say, then 2013, and then now in. And that is how, when they thought that the Hong Kong demonstrators, they are not allowing this anti-sedition law to happen, so that's why they're circumventing.
Okay, so
Hong
it's
Kong
incremental.
legislative-
Okay, it's going to be incremental, but not a whole
Yes.
hog in the next 2-3 weeks, 2-3 months.
Yes.
Let's get in
Yes.
let's get in
Yes.
General Dwivedi into this. General Dwivedi, is it fire and smoke? Is it still going to be incremental, or do you feel something tectonic has shifted, that they will try to go for broke in a few areas and say, okay, let's finish these problems off once and for all?
So Chinese always go in an incremental manner, and that's what have been their policy. I want to put two issues together. First is, as far as Xi Jinping is concerned, I think right now he faces no threat. In fact, he is further consolidating, and I see really no threat to him because he has almost eliminated all the opposition and he has right people in his team. Secondly, external. He has, China has already taken 80% of the South China Sea, and the policy is grey zone tactics, means keep biting and nibbling, small moves, and wherever you get a space, they'll create a space. And it is part of the China's policy of Pacific Ocean. They want to be the power in the West Pacific Ocean and get American out. In 2016, I was doing a course at Harvard Kennedy School, where we had a dozen, American generals from Asia Pacific. Let me tell you, America is not going to fight for these rocks and these reefs because they don't find is a strong reason enough. And as far as Taiwan is concerned, Chinese don't have the capability to attack and annex China because that will be very foolhardy. So
Okay.
they'll keep labeling South China Sea, they'll keep India on the toes so that we don't cross the Rubicon line. They want us to be neutral or at least a friendly adversary and not actually.
So at worst they want us to sit this. They want us to sit this one out. So in which case, General Dwivedi, before I get Sumit back in which case, what should our response be? Because I mentioned that we've sent in a couple of MPs to enter a swearing in for the Taiwanese president. We are sending signals the way of the US and the Japanese and trying to keep Chinese companies out. Do we also keep tiptoeing around this, or do we need some cogency, some specificity in what we're doing?
We need a long-term China policy which has to have political content, economic content, military content. Militarily, as a soldier, I can tell you, Chinese respect strength, and we should never show our weakness. If they want to meet and have a little bit of power, well, we should be open. After all, the armies are not there to parade on the Rajpath. They are supposed to fight. And if Chinese want to have it, then we should go for it. As far as politically, I think we should play our cards very, very carefully. We should keep, leveraging our strategic position. Well, if Chinese push us too much, then we have the Quad option. And thirdly, economically, I think we need to catch up because the gap is too much. And my final word is Chinese respect strength, and Chinese only shake hands with equals. Let's be equal to Chinese.
Okay.
Let's not tell them
So
that we have-
follow the Sumit Peer. What the general is
Yeah.
saying is, do exactly what Deng Xiaoping told the Chinese to do in the 70s. Bide your time, build your strength, and one day when you rise, all these problems will look after themselves. Do we simply bide our time? Can we sit this one out? Let the Americans and the Aussies and the Japanese manage by themselves.
Rishabh, China is encircling us from all the sides. We know what we have discussed numerous times on NewsX, those debates. No point of repeating them. If we still think China has no plans against India, we'll be too naive to think that they have an economic plan, they have a social plan, and they have a military plan against us. The need of the hour is a super NATO kind of alliance. India must seriously think, contemplate the option of even joining the NATO, because when you join the NATO, China can never even dream of touching India, because that is the only way you keep the dragon away, because their move is expansion. They want to expand, they want to conquer the whole world. I don't know what is wrong in their head. One is economic dominance, that is second is political dominance. What is this conquering the whole world? What is this OBR road and status, and where you say if you cannot pay, I'll take the administrative control of that road? What is this debt trap? What is this debt trap policy for African nations?
Okay.
The Chinese policy is out in the open.
So are they? So I think there can be no doubt that they're doing all these things, that they want to upturn the order. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
One last point, Rishabh. Chinese can go for broke. Take my point, sir. If the pressure on Xi Jinping increases, he has to produce an extraordinary result, so he might go for broke in Taiwan or in Hong Kong, wherever.
Okay. So far there is no doubt. So far the strategy has been incremental everywhere. You look at Tibet,
correct,
how they did it. You look at Xinjiang, how they've been doing it. You look at the South China Sea, and you even look at Taiwan. They've been doing incremental over many decades. Forget months and years. So that could hold, or it could hold that this is the point of inflection where they think something changes. Dr. Deepak, the boiled down question is, what can we do about it? Because the 2 points of argument is, if they are stronger than you, then you join up with others to balance them out. Other is, you sit this one out and wait for better luck next time when you are bigger and stronger yourself.
I don't think we should be waiting for the luck. India should be doing whatever is best in its national interest. If we have to align ourselves with the US as far as security is concerned, we should be doing it. And I think India is doing it. And as far as our economic interests are concerned, so we should be doing it, whatever country, including China itself. We have been talking about decoupling. So let's take advantage of Chinese also. Why not? The Chinese, they did take advantage of various other international systems.
Yeah, their economy was fueled by the Americans.
Why can't we do it?
Correct.
Then,
okay.
Then of course, the last point I think I would reiterate is that as long as our domestic, political, economic drivers are not strong, that is the key. And we cannot be cacophonous.
Okay.
Otherwise, it
all boils down to that.
To be doing a bit of hard work there.
Okay, it boils down to the truism. We are a bigger country and much more powerful today because Pakistan has been left behind economically. Your economy is 10 times theirs, and the Chinese are then several times yours. Joyita Basu, it always boils down to that. But amidst the larger argument, now India's economy ain't going to double next year. It might double in 5 years if we are lucky. But right now, when things are hitting the fan, when the Aussies have taken a very aggressive position, the Americans have taken a very aggressive position, the Japanese are low on rhetoric, but in action they are being pretty aggressive. Can we simply sit this one out without burning a lot of bridges with would-be or want to be friends?
No, I don't think we are sitting idle. You know what? We cannot possibly think in terms of a war with China. And for that matter, I just want to point out one thing that no one has been talking about, which is when was the last time China actually had a war, actually fought a war? It lost, it went into Vietnam, long back, it lost it. It lost so many soldiers and all. So when was the last time that China actually had military action, and which is coming to war fighting? Okay. So, and perhaps we also overestimate China, and it is when you compare, I think the army gentleman will be able to say it better, but the fact is when you compare it to the US, it is nowhere. When it comes to actual war and all, it is nowhere. So I don't think China will be going for a war anywhere at all. And China is ultimately looking at business. It is and grabbing territory, and that is how it is going into it.
So it's bluff, bluster, a bit of rhetoric, and a more of a long-term plan. But there are short-term goals within the long-term plan. They're one part of the long-term plan.
So we have to
ends next year because 100 years have gone past since the Chinese Communist Party was founded in the French Shanghai Concession in 1921. Chairman Mao, of course, took over in 1927. This is not the last conversation we'll have on China for the near term, but it's an important one that we continue having it, because a cogent approach and a realization of how quickly things are changing is very important for us as a country, even while we are dealing with so many problems of our own at the same time. But I think it will be consensus and everybody will agree. In the medium term, you can only bear it out if economically you are much closer or at par. That's when the game really changes, and that's where the energy and the push needs to be. Thank you, all of you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.